Hello and welcome. Today we'll be going through the next poem in my book, Maybe Someday, which is a collection of poetry I wrote when I was 17 and 18, trying to cope with and make sense of the things I was dealing with at the time. And as we talked about in the last two poems of mine, I was at this time starting to kind of get into my first ever relationship. And this poem sort of continues that story and tries to document like the very first actual date we had. And so this poem is called Around the Lake / Sticks. It's kind of a two-part poem, the first main section being Around the Lake, and then the second being Sticks. And this ended up becoming the first poem in a sort of mini series I ended up writing that takes place throughout this book, kind of intermittently, that I called Our Love is a Lake. So, this is the poem that kind of started that all and kind of represents the very beginning of that relationship I had when I was in high school. So, usually here, I would start by just reading the poem out to you and then afterwards going a bit more in depth about what this poem really means and what specific lines were supposed to represent to me and everything. But with this video, I want to do it a little bit differently because this poem is very much based in a lot of sort of inside understanding between me and her about this specific day and the events that took place and everything. And pretty much just tells the story of exactly what happened throughout that day we spent at the lake, but also at the same time, everything in there I wrote to sort of be a metaphor and represent kind of things we were going through or things I was feeling or all kinds of different stuff like that. And because it's very much that sort of inside knowledge between us, I kind of want to keep it that way and not explain and break down what all these things mean exactly and kind of let you just hear it as it is and like kind of get your own understanding of it, see what kinds of connections you can make from the things I say, and just kind of get a feel for it overall as a whole instead of breaking down every single part of it. So, really quick before we do get into sharing the poem here, I'd like to give you kind of a little basis for the overall story before we go into it to kind of help your understanding. So, on this like first date we had, uh, we went and walked around the lake near here and just spent a few hours together out there, just walking around and talking and all that, and just had a really great overall experience and everything. And let's just say it like took us places we didn't expect we would go there. And in the end, though, I had originally planned and really wanted to like officially like ask her out and like yeah, make it official and everything. But it was like my first time ever trying to do that and had a really hard time, and by the end of it just was like so overwhelmed by it all that I just didn't. And then later then that evening I called her and wanted to meet back up again, and then that was when I was finally able to do it and officially like start this relationship that then many more poems were written about throughout this book, both from the beginning and all the good and everything to then inevitably the breakup and everything that came with it. So if you're at all interested in that, go ahead and stick around and subscribe or follow or whatever and join me on that journey. But of course there is all kinds of other stuff I wrote about throughout this time in this book. So it's more than just that, but that is a pretty big part of it since that was something I was like going through at this time and was a big part of my life. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just get into the poem. So here is Around the Lake / Sticks. Blooming like the tulips that surround us, we walk the circles of those around us. I want to go outward and see where it takes us. You hesitantly follow, seeing only dead ends, but they can't save us. Across the bridge, we walk through a place of reconstruction. The parts we don't understand yet, a barren landscape that's recovering. Slide through the dividers, we take a risk, but slide back out before we're questioned. Couldn't quite get our hole in one, but still we keep on walking. As we make our way around the lake, we make our way around the lake. Can't lose sight because the journey is what we make. This is what we make as we make our way around the lake. More than 7, but not quite 20. It's always the hard parts. I'm always overestimating. Is this too far? Should we have not come out this way? Can't turn back now. Finish it out now before I regret yesterday. Banished from its waters, but it's still there. It's still there inside you, and still in me. Brought together, the 10th of 4. Thought we wouldn't make it, but we pulled it back in time before the 11 showed their faces. We'll both see the ledge next time we're at the lake. I'm so sorry it couldn't be today, but I'm so glad we made this journey, and I still said it on that date. I just want to do what's right, but you know I couldn't wait. You break me, like twigs in your hands, but I grow back stronger than before, and I'm beginning to understand that this is why I love you more and more. Someday I'll bring you a bouquet of branches, strong and sturdy, full of life. One day I'll have the courage to ask you, hey, would you please be my... No, not yet. I'm not ready. But maybe someday, we still have more sticks to break. So that was Around the Lake / Sticks. And of course, as always, I hope that you enjoyed and found something that stood out to you, or maybe even you could connect with, even though this was one that's like very specific and maybe kind of hard to connect with personally. But I hope at least that you enjoyed it and found some sort of value in my poem here. Before I go, I would like to mention here that if you didn't notice, near the end there, it says how I'm not ready, but maybe someday. And of course, I have mentioned before that several poems throughout this book mention maybe someday in some sort of way, and that's kind of part of what led me to the title I made for my book of Maybe Someday. It was just kind of an unintentional thing that kept reoccurring, and as I was putting this book together and trying to think of a title, that reoccurring message there just really stood out to me and led me to title it Maybe Someday. And this was one of the first examples where I said that, and of course one where I actually said it twice, like it is in the title, and it's kind of possibly like one of the main contributors to the title ending up as it did. So yeah, just thought that was a little interesting thing to share. But yeah, again, if you're still here and you enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate it if you would give a like to the video or follow and subscribe or anything like that, or even check out any of my other videos I already have up, or if you'd like to see more of the poems from this book, I have a playlist titled after the book Maybe Someday up on my channel too, where you can see all the videos straight in order, and as new ones come out, they'll automatically be added into that, so you can always see them as they come. And also, if you'd really like to, my book here, Maybe Someday, as well as my second book, I Love Him at Last, which just came out earlier this year, are available to buy. There's a link down in the description to that, and all of my social media and other things I do too, if you want to check any of that out too. So yeah. So anyway, again, I hope you enjoyed and hope to see you next time. In my next video, we'll be going through my poem called 8, which is about childhood innocence and the struggles of kind of losing that in a way and facing some of the hard truths and everything that come with growing older and starting to become an adult, as I was, as someone who had just recently turned 18. So I hope to see you next week for that one, and just remember that we're all broken and we're just arranging the pieces. Thank you.